Hello, Ellie's in first. Today we're going to start out in prepositions. Page 64, where we ended off with our other activity, is where we start up today in our books. I brought a guest who I'll introduce in a while. All right, let's see there. Make that a little bigger. There we go. So if you want to turn in your own book, that makes it easier to read or see, that's just fine. But I'll also share this book up here. And right away, before class even starts, I'm going to give you that definition for preposition that I want you to use on your card, because it's different than what's in the book. We're going to start there right away, even before class begins. As you come in, give a little extra time to get these flashcards made. Let's see here then. I'll use a text box. A couple of them. Don't know that I need it that big. Today's class is called Prepositions with Mrs. Lawler, in honor of prepositions. And let's make that text box a wee bit smaller. Yes, Isla.
So for the preposition thing, did you want us to type it in with our names?
Yes, let me model that here.
Okay, thanks. That's what I thought, but I didn't know.
Yes, let me see if I can do my own as an example. So if you can, probably help if I put them out like this. There we go. So for example, I'm in here as Cheri Lawler. I'm going to add a preposition before my name to create a prepositional phrase with Cheri Lawler. And so use your own preposition, something that makes sense with your name. Like in my situation, I have started with a title, Prepositions with Mrs. Lawler. So I've got with Cheri Lawler set as my name. You may now rename yourself with a preposition in front of your name. You might choose in, on. I don't know about through, but things do go through you. So you could probably do through. You can look at that list on page 64 and choose one that would work with your name that delights you, and rename yourself that way for today's class. As others come in, they'll see it and they can add in. I didn't use a capital letter, you'll notice, because I have not created a sentence. This is just a phrase. And so you don't need to capitalize your preposition, but do make sure your first and last name are capitalized, since they are proper nouns, right? So for prepositions day today, you can rename yourself with a preposition in front of your name. Here comes the definition that we're going to write on our flashcards. Remember, I said when you read this, don't use the definition in the book, because I'm going to give you a different one. So here's that definition I promised to give. I'll use the part I can use, and I'll edit what they have in the book, show it on here. So a preposition shows. I'm going to go right to the most active, descriptive, well stated action verb here. A preposition shows the relationship. And then the rest of it, I'm not going to have you use. So let me show you what I do want you to use. Make this text box smaller as well so you can start this flashcard right away. A preposition shows the relationship between two nouns in the sentence. That's how I'd rather you memorize this definition. It's not that the other one's wrong, it's that I think this one will be better. All right. There we go. And what else can I give you? Pretty soon we're going to need, how much time do we have? Oh, we've still got a minute before prayer. Round about up here, maybe at the top of your page, I'd encourage you to write this sentence. The mouse goes, and then leave a blank line, the box, or boxes, because certain prepositions will make more sense if you have plural boxes, more than one. So this is a cool sentence that comes out of the analytical grammar book I used to teach. And rather than asking students to memorize all the prepositions, which some of you have probably done from jingles in various grammar programs you did in elementary school, but for those who didn't, it's nice to have something to test with. So I want you to make a flashcard for this. What would I put on the front of the flashcard? Sorry, I have to look and see what did I put on the front of mine. I've made mine already. How did I do that? So I put a question. What sentence helps test many prepositions? I'll put that over here. And I just happen to have room. You can write in your book or on your printed page or on another piece of paper. But what you might put on the front of your flashcard is what sentence helps test many prepositions. And the reason I don't say all is because it doesn't test all, because there are some prepositions that won't make sense in the mouse and box sentence, but they definitely still are. And I'm going to give you something for that today too. So if you feel like class is a little out of order, because why are we just jumping in like this? It's simply because every class period goes so fast. And so I'm making use of every moment to try to make sure I deliver all the information to you that will make prepositions as easy as possible. I'm going to stretch that out. This is my front of my card, my question. And then on the other side of your card, you can write down the mouse goes blank, the box, and put ES in parentheses in case plural boxes works better. For example, through you can see in the commonly used prepositions list on page 65. They're in alphabetical order, so right after since, they have through. And it makes, I could say the mouse goes through the box. I guess that would work. But another way of going through might be winding its way, walking between them. If I say between, that one for sure, that between the boxes. If I say the mouse goes between the box, no, I need boxes. That means I have two, right? Or more. So that's going to be a second card. One card is the definition of preposition. Second card is this mouse and box sentence as a test to see when you're doing work. You don't have to flip back. Not a bad idea, though, to make yourself a note that, like pronouns, you put a little tab that says prepositions in it and stick it in this page to help you find them quickly till you get them, you're more used to them. Be okay. There'll be one more card today, so I know we're a little late for prayer, and it seems like we skipped it, but this is what I wanted to have loaded for you. The third card today will be but Al does. But Al does will go on the back side of the card, or when you flip it. What would you put in front of that, Mrs. Lawler? I would put this. acronym, letters that stand for something. Acronym to memorize. 9 common prepositions that won't work, that won't fit, or make sense in the mouse and box sentence. So you're going to have more time. These are going to be here. They're not going to go away. We're going to be on this page for quite a long time. So you can pause for just a moment. Okay. And we'll come back around. But some of you were here early, and this gives you a chance to get started a little bit early as well on those. Okay. So pause for prayer. And then we'll do everything in order. I just listed these words that you were going to need. So some of you can have extra time to be writing cards when you get your hands free to do so. All right, and I'll talk about renaming if you notice that our names are odd. And first and foremost, I'm going to check over here, and sure enough, all 22, and it looks like a lot of you figured out the name thing. Well done. I've not looked at chat much yet, so if you put me a note there, not seen it, but I'll try to catch up in a moment. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your grace and mercy. Help us to have fun and play with words at the same time, and help us retain what we need to be used to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so you can see some people put prepositions in front of their name. For preposition day, you can look at page 64, where it begins to talk about the preposition. There are many prepositions listed, and you see some great choices from Hayden by Chloe, beyond Jacob Dones, below Island Order. And if you want to be original, there's a large list. So you can, it's okay if you reuse a preposition someone else used, but see if you can come up with, because there's way more than 23. So we might be able to come up with everyone having their own that would all make sense with our names. I don't see in being used, but you could think about some things that are in you right now, whether or not you get to share them. So in is a good choice that hasn't been used. You can't say out without putting of, but that is a compound preposition. So you could put out of, a 2-word preposition, out of Mrs. Lawler, for example, or yourself. So that's not been taken yet. All right, so see if you can get yourself renamed in some way that you're including a preposition as part of your name. And what we're doing is making little prepositional phrases of our webcams pictures today. All right, good job. So you know about that if you want to do it. You don't have to. It's not a big deal if you don't. But I'll get a picture of the ones that you've come up with. And Sadie, if we can see you as soon as possible, that would be fantastic. All right. I'm going to ask you a few questions. I know some of you are making flashcards. There's 3 flashcards to make today, 3. So I'll reintroduce, I'll say it again. Some of you have started them. This will give you a chance to get a little more on there. Let me see, here we go. All right, so your first card says preposition on one side, and on the other side has the definition, which I've given you now, the way I want you to memorize it for this class. A preposition shows the relationship between 2 nouns in the sentence. All right, so make sure you have that card. Front has the word preposition. This is chapter 3, page 64 to label to your card so you don't lose track of which chapter it came from. Then look at the examples at the bottom of 64, because it really helps with the definition. Seeing some examples. Notice how a change in the preposition changes the relationship in the position. I like to highlight position in preposition, so you might want to do that as well. I have done it in my own book. Notice the word position in preposition. And so the relationship is about the position of the two. In this case, the two nouns in their examples are package and tree. In the first one, the package is under the tree. In the second sentence, the package is in the tree. And in the third one, the package is near the tree. In all of them, it's just the preposition shows the relationship between package and tree. That's what they mean by that definition. Okay? So you've got that flashcard. And if you don't get that one finished, just set it aside. Come back later and finish. Grab a screenshot, or you can ask me for a screenshot because I have it as well. And then the second card, make sure you have a card that on the front says, what sentence helps test many prepositions? And the answer that goes on the back is this silly sentence, the mouse goes blank the boxes. Nothing magical about it. We could say something else. Let me give you another example. Here, my friend. I know. Good morning. How are you? This is Kidder, and Kidder is the cheese man's rabbit. He's a little mini Rex. His name is Kidder. So I have Kidder with me today, and Kidder is going to help me demonstrate some of the ways that we can use the mouse and box sentence. But I will be using a rabbit and a box instead. I'm going to get rid of my headphones. Hi there. Were you enjoying hay? Sorry to interrupt you. It'll only take a little while. All right, so this is my advertisement for prepositions, but it is also my reminder that tomorrow is pet day in Mrs. Lawler's class, and you may bring a pet with you to class to show in your webcam. Just remember, like I did, to bring a container near your desk area so that at some point, if the pet doesn't want to be in your arms, or if you need your hands, you can set that pet down and there's something that can handle waste and not be a distraction to you, and the animal can stay there near your desk until you can put it back where it usually goes. Okay, so heads up on that. You may bring a pet tomorrow to class because it'll go with what we're doing. Here's my box, and I've got a big old Costco box, if you can't quite see that. And Kidder can, of course, go in the box. He did. Sorry about that. He didn't like when the box fell. I can turn it over and I can put Kidder on the box, right? He can go on the box. He can be under the box or over the box. I cannot put him through the particular box that I showed, okay? But I can see the relationship between Kidder and the box. Now I'm going to let him go back to his hay because he will be happier. Now that I've mentioned that, make yourself a note about pet day if you didn't know, to see if you can bring a pet. It is, of course, okay if you don't have a pet. So you don't have to tell me, but I don't have a pet. I don't need to know. There's an email about that. If you don't have a pet, there's a suggestion for what to do. But you're going to make your card to show that. And the mouse goes blank the box will work for most position words. Most position words are going to work beautifully there. And that's going to help you know that that word in the sentence is a preposition. But there are 9 very commonly used prepositions that do not at all make sense in that sentence. And that's why I want you to make a third card, but Al does. On the front, I'll show you mine. I think you should put acronym to memorize 9 common prepositions. And these are ones that won't work in the mouse and box sentence. I've already put it up on the page. I'm just showing you I've got it written. That's chapter 3, page 65. Not in your book. I wrote it in my book. You can write it in your book now and then make the flashcard later. You can make the flashcard now and write it in your book later. And here they come. I've got them listed down the side of my page, but Al does so that I can put the word that goes with the acronym next to the letter. I know you can't read that. I'm about to give them to you, so there's no worries. Let's see if everything's going to function the way I want it to. Tirza, you can talk to me while I discover what I'm doing with this.
Isn't but a conjunction?
That is an excellent question. Fantastic. You are absolutely right. You're going to find but on the conjunction list. One of the fanboys, for those of you who know that and have memorized the coordinating conjunction. So again, usage determines how we mark it, and there is a usage of but that is conjunction, and there's a usage of it that's preposition. How in the world will I know? Well, it has to do with memorizing the definition. If a noun or pronoun follows, then it's probably being used as a preposition. I'll give you an example. Everyone went to the party but me. That's a preposition use. Okay, everybody. So when you use but as except, do you see how they put that in parentheses to help you? That right on their list, they put the word except. When you use it in place of the word except, then it's being used as a preposition, and you'll mark it PP. And I didn't put that down here, but in just a minute, we're going to play with that. Prepositions will be marked PP for preposition, the 2 P's that are in it. Okay? That's how we label it for parsing. So great question. You see that except is also on that prepositions list. And if but's being used that way, it's a preposition. In conjunctions, it'll be, I had pickles, but no mayonnaise. And so I have pickles, mayonnaise, and they're being joined. That's what conjunctions do. They join 2 grammatical equals, in this case, 2 nouns, pickles and mayonnaise. And that usage is a conjunction, and we'll talk about it tomorrow and the next day. Great, great question. Here comes those words that go with but Al does. Some of you are like, when is she gonna say? Okay, I'm gonna challenge myself to see if I can remember them all. The first one is but. And then until, than, like more than, less than with the an. As, like. So that's the A and L there for Al, as and like. And then does is the during. Of is so common. You're going to find that one a lot. Let's see, is the E except? Yes. Except and since. Let me give you an example while you're writing those down. And if you, I'll put a space in here to maybe help. There's the first 3 that spell the word but, B-U-T, and the A-L that spell Al for his name, and then does, D-O-E-S. Okay, so you can put those down your card on the back of your card. If I say the mouse goes until the box, it does not make sense. So it's on this other list of words. This acronym is for words that will not make sense with the mouse and box sentence. The mouse goes like the box. It doesn't make sense, so that doesn't work. The mouse goes during the box. No, doesn't make sense. So these are 9 common prepositions you may find, and I'd like you to memorize them. So put them on your card and practice them. Memorize these 9, and then for most of the others you'll use in the book, the mouse and box sentence should help you find it. Okay? Those 3 cards you need. And then there's a little section here. You don't need to make a card, but you may need to remember that some prepositions have more than one word. And when they say compound here, they don't mean more than one in a sentence. They mean two or more words form the preposition. You have to be careful of those because they won't all be together in the sentence, but they'll be acting as a preposition when you find them. I'll show you an example in just a minute. What I'd like you to do as soon as you finish your 3 flashcards, or you've got them enough to where you're ready to move on and you could come back to them later, go to the sentences in exercise 15, and every preposition, mark it with a PP over the top. Okay, you can go ahead and start. And if you finish those 5 sentences, go right on to the back, flip the page, and do the next 5. Every sentence has at least 1, and some have 2, and some have 3. Let me show you one you might wonder, what do we do for according to? According to is listed in this box I just made, and it's used in sentence number 2. That one would be, let me see, do I have another text box handy? That is a preposition with wings, showing it's made up of more than one word. So I'm going to put wings, the dotted line, and the 2 P's, and another wing, and I'm going to put it over according to. If you're writing on paper, you can just draw a line. It doesn't have to be dotted. I just show it with dotted lines. Somehow it makes it easy to see in there. PP. All right? So do that if you find any of these compound prepositions that are made up of more than one word in the sentences. See if you can find all the prepositions in sentences 1 through 10 as quick as you can. Yes, go ahead, Jacob.
Which flashcards are we doing?
What do you mean by flashcards? Which flashcards are we doing?
Didn't you just say we're doing some new flashcards today?
Yes, I've gone over them twice since class began. So if you missed it, you need to watch the recording because I simply can't go over them again. But all the information is on this page. So if you don't have 3 flashcards made, plan to watch the recording.
I've already done Alda's. That's one of them, right?
Yes.
New ones? Okay, I can't remember the other 2.
They're on the screen and you can watch the recording. So make a note, Jacob, to watch the first part of class again. And
Prepositions, right?
yes, we
Is
will
that
need
another?
that one. Mm-hmm. All right, and now think about my son's rabbit, Kidder. And for those of you who have your hands free, and I know you're working on finding prepositions. Some of you are done. Some of you are still working. That's okay. Mark those prepositions. That's fantastic. If your hands are free, what part of speech is rabbit? If I had the rabbit is in my office. Good. And is rabbit common or proper? It is, it's common. Does anyone remember the proper name for this rabbit? Did you hear me say it? Very close, yes, yes, with a D. So Kidder. And so Kidder would be what kind of noun? Kidder, if it said Kidder is in Mrs. Lawler's office, how would you mark that? With a PN, right? So not just an N, that would be marked PN because it's a proper noun. Good. All right. Pop that into chat. Good. I'm going to ask a few questions of some people while you're marking. Some people work faster than others, and then they need something to keep their minds going at it. All right. So let's see. I'm going to review the parts of speech. Oh, everyone can do this whose hands are free. What are the 4 things named by nouns? Give me at least one, if not more than one. Nouns name 4 things. Good. And there we go. All right, now we've seen person, place, thing, and idea. Excellent. So show me on your fingers, if your hands are free, how many parts of speech are there to know? How many parts of speech did they mention at the beginning of chapter 3? We need 5 maybe on one hand and 3 on the other for the full 8. And of those 8, how many have we talked about before today? Do you know? All but the last 3. All but the last 3. So we'd covered 5, and I'm going to ask you a few questions about these 5 over here. And then we're going to add in what we know about prepositions and play with them. You've been finding some prepositions in those sentences. You can keep doing that whenever you get a spare moment. There's some in the next exercise, but at least get the ones in the first exercise, those first 10 sentences, which is exercise 15. All right? So we've got the nouns. I've asked questions about nouns. Let's see. Tirza, what do adjectives modify? Which parts of speech do they modify?
A noun and pronoun.
Good, good. The nouns and the pronouns, because the pronouns will be doing the same job. Therefore, they can be modified just like nouns can. Excellent. Good. So we've talked about nouns and we've talked about adjectives. And then she named nouns and another part of speech that I don't have up on my fingers yet. Pronouns. What do pronouns do, Avery? What do pronouns do? You guys can pop it into chat if you're just dying to tell me, private chat it to me. Okay, Melia, you're gonna make it. Yes, good, Anna D. Good, good. It's going to, how did they word it in the book? I want to make sure I say it the same. There's a stands for, and there's a takes the place of. The way I like to remember it is pronouns take the place of one or more nouns. Pronouns take the place of. So hook the words takes the place of to pronouns. There's 3 of the 5. And then we learned about that every sentence has to have a what. Pop that into chat. It has to have a certain kind of something. It has to have a subject, noun, or pronoun, but it also has to have a what? A verb. Good. How many kinds of verbs have we learned? Show me on your fingers. How many different kinds? Pop in one of them. You can use the abbreviations to show me you know those. Good. There's linking, there's action, and good. And there's, I see helping verbs. Good. And our sentences we work with today are still going to have verbs. They'll either be a action verb or a linking verb, and that has to happen for it to be a complete sentence. Only a helping verb if it's in front of an action or linking verb. And that leaves us with the 5th one we just did, adverbs. Name the 3 parts of speech that adverbs can modify. This gives you a chance to practice these and memorize and show what you know. Adverbs can modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Good job, good job. Okay, well done. Those are the 5 we've talked about. Today we add prepositions. All right, and you've got flashcards about prepositions that'll help you understand them better Now let's play with the sentences, okay? All right, looking at exercise 15. Who wants to mark some prepositions in here? Who wants to mark some of these? Good. I can have hands up and I can turn the page now. I've taken a screenshot of the things I told you to put on flashcards. I'm going to move this up now, and you can come back later. You can ask me for a screenshot if you need it. Exercise 15. Good. Okay, we're almost there. And let's go ahead and mark PP over the prepositions found in sentences 1 through 10 of exercise 15. You may not have found them all, and you might have. You might have. Okay, so let's go ahead and let some people find some things and put them in place here. All right. Oh, let's see. I'm going to have to slide up first to let this text box be on this page. It's so finicky. All right, there we go. And if you're still working on it, go ahead and continue. You can also check the next exercise for prepositions if you are getting antsy. Tristan's going to catch this next one here. And Anna D has got number 3. Just having trouble. I'm going to get rid of my pen nib and then it'll be happier, I think, to move my text box. Maybe. Anna D, do number 3. While I mess with this, it's not happy. Okay, Anna D's got that one. Ellie, you've got number 4. All right, I'm grabbing another one here. Scarlet. The one thing I realized though, my drawback on this is if I move it down, but I can still see it, but I won't be able to get the text boxes down there. They'll move. I've got one that I had left over. So Lydia, you put them on number 6, and then put your hand down if I've called you. Leave your hand up if you still want to help, and I'll get those others as soon as I can move it down. Okay, so go ahead and annotate PP over the prepositions that you see, if you've been named. Now, those of you that are waiting to see if you found all the prepositions, it's okay to look at exercise 16 because there's prepositions in there too. And those ones, they're looking for prepositional phrase. If you understand prepositional phrase, like the prepositional phrase you made for your name, instead of underlining it like the directions show, put parentheses around it. Okay, parentheses around instead. So that'll give your hands something to do while others are showing you where they found prepositions. You can see if you found them all. So, for example, on exercise 16, which I can't scroll to, you would do this: under the tree. That's a prepositional phrase. And then all of these: in the tree, near the tree. So these are parentheses. And I want you to just begin to get the idea of putting prepositional phrases in parentheses. I'll add parentheses to with Mrs. Lawler. And to show me that you understand, you can rename yourself, putting parentheses around the prepositional phrase you created in your name. That's another thing your hands can be doing. I'll go ahead and do mine. Let's see. Because we made prepositional phrases with our names, that's because if you see a preposition in the sentence, there's going to be a noun or pronoun that comes after it that will end that phrase. And we'll talk about phrases more in chapter 4. Avery, is that an old hand from when I called on you? Do you have a question for me?
No, I wanted to do one of the sentences.
Oh, you're one of those people that's ready to help. Sorry about that. That makes sense. All right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to tell you how many there are, how many prepositions. Look at what you found. on page 65, okay? And see if you found this many. So in sentence 1, there's 2 of them, and they're both shown by Gabriel. Good. There's only according to in number 2, Tristan. That was so not fair. Sorry about that. I will give you another one. So Tristan, when I scroll the page, well, actually, you could go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do number 7 right now. Do number 7 instead, Tristan. Sorry about that. That was my bad. In number 3, there's only 1. And we have out of. Okay, kicked him out of heaven. Is out of. Okay, so out of. And did you figure out using the wings? So Anna D, totally right. Out of. But instead of putting a PP over each, just use the wings on your paper. So you guys, if you did it different, or if you did it like Anna D, she's right. Just use wings to show that out of works together to do the job of showing the relationship between 2 nouns. Number 3. Number 4 has 3 of them. Ellie found from, of, and to. Here, notice that the word to is not followed by a verb, so it's not an infinitive. It is a preposition. That's right, if you found all those 3. And then there's 3 in number 5. Scarlett found like. 4. There's 1 more. Pop it into chat if you can see the preposition that Scarlett doesn't have marked yet in sentence number 5. It's okay to look at the list. That's not cheating. There you go. And through, Scarlett. So go ahead and circle through as well. Okay. And for Lydia's on number 6, there's 3. She's got 2 of them. She found to and with. There's 1 more, Lydia. Do you see it? There it is, of. Good. Of is that 3rd one. Tristan, you only got 1, but you've got it beautifully marked after. After is a preposition. All right. And then Avery, catch sentence number 8, but give me just a minute because these are going to move. So I'm going to stop real quick and take a picture. You can delete those if you need the screenshot because you don't know how to get those yet, but get as many of them as you can. Don't panic. All right, and then I'm going to slide down here, and Lydia went ahead and deleted hers before I got a screenshot. So Lydia, go ahead and put them back up, if you will. Put those back up there. Kristen did number 7. Avery's doing number 8. And then Kaima, catch number 9. And let's see here. Hayden, I didn't get to hear from you. Hayden, show us what you can find for number 10. All right, and all hands down now, unless you have a question for me, but let's try not to because we're going to try to sail through some things in a certain amount of time. So best to not unless it's super important and will help everybody. All right, and then after class, write your question down if you do have something, because I can definitely help afterward. And others are on their way. Let's finish up this exercise. Let's see, number. So Lydia put, I think you want that. Oh, I see. The PP that's on the word fell, the verb, is over of. So make sure you've marked of, to, and with in number 6. Tristan, go ahead and remark after in number 7 because I didn't get a screenshot of it yet. If you will, please. Avery is showing us the 2 in number 8, on and 4. Good job. That's all there is there. Kaima, there are 3 in number 9. And Hayden, there is only 1, and he's got it. The PP goes over with. That's right. PP on top for preposition. Good. Raise your hand just for fun. Be honest. Did anybody have every single preposition? You didn't miss any. Any people like that found every preposition on your own? Go ahead and report if you found everyone. Nice, nice. And others probably only missed it by 1 or 2. Well done. Excellent. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do any more with exercise 16. If you started finding prepositional phrases there, that's fantastic. We may come back to it tomorrow or in the future, or we may not, depending on how things go. But I want to make sure that I introduce conjunction, because tomorrow during class, I want to give you time to introduce your pet, and to get that time, I need to at least have introduced, because you know it takes a little while to make those cards, okay? And I'm just popping back up to Kayema's to see, she's got a PP over. Let's see, Kayema, it doesn't seem like you have them where all the places we need them. I agree about to and of, but the other 2 I don't agree. So to and of are marked in number 9. Let's see, and there should be one more. So not over he climbed, that's not a preposition, that's the sentence space. There it is. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and cross this one out here. Go ahead, Kayema.
I think that blue might be
Oh,
number
an
8.
old one. I'm sorry. Of course you knew that. Right. It's from the other page probably, and it just came down. Okay, got it. Sorry about that. So no confusion. In number 9, to, of, in are our 3 prepositions, and Hayden gave us with. All right, excellent. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a screenshot of that. And we're gonna slide down to conjunction. Okay, you don't need to worry about erasing because it's not in the way. The card definition, or what I want you to use for conjunction, and I want you to write it in your book or on your flashcard, then do the other one later, is this. A conjunction, we're going to keep that, is a word, yes, which joins. Okay, now this may seem tricky, but bear with me. Which joins, let me grab a box. Grammatical, that's just grammar, writing, grammatical. Grammatical equals. And then I'll give you a couple examples. Noun to noun, verb to verb. You put this in your definition too. Sentence to sentence, etc. These are some examples of grammatical equals. You don't have to understand it all. Just grab a picture and begin to make that card for conjunction. Conjunction on one side, definition on the other. They give you great examples of these on the page. Conjunctions can join single words like brush and paint, which are both verbs. It can join descriptions like hot or cold, which are adjectives. It can join small but comfortable, more adjectives. See how they're both the same part of speech. So don't be freaked out by grammatical equals. It's simply saying that if it's a noun, there'll be another noun that's being joined with it. There's a verb, there'll be another verb joined with it. When you see these and, or, but used in your sentences, unless the but is acting like the word except, and then it's being used as a preposition. Like Tirza wisely brought up. Conjunctions can also join groups of words. It may not just be single words. It can be through the forest and across the river. That is a joining. For those of you who've already written your card, you can add these other words to your book. A joining of prepositional phrases. 2 prepositional phrases: through the forest, across the river. So through is a preposition and across. And so these two prepositional phrases are being joined by and. Wanted to notify, but not to alarm. See how that's groups of words being joined by but. Camping out or staying in motels. Joining groups of words. And then, of course, it can also join sentences. All right? Sentences. Do I have to write all that on my card, Mrs. Lawler? No, that's too much to write on your card. On your card, you're going to put that this definition came from page 68. And if you need to know more about conjunctions, you can go to 68 and see the different kinds of things that they can be joined. Then just make one more card for conjunctions. And on the front, write 3 kinds of conjunctions. And then list these 3. Coordinating on the back, correlative, and that's correlative, so 2 R's, and subordinating. We'll put a little bit about those guys on the back. Okay, so you're going to write on the front kinds of conjunctions. On the back, you're going to write the 3 kinds. Next to coordinating, you can see some listed. The coordinating conjunctions, they say are, and, but, or, nor, for, yet. And they didn't give us all the ones that some of you know. Some of you have heard of fanboys. It's another acronym. So next to coordinating, I'm going to give you an acronym. Oh, Mrs. Lawler, this is so much to remember. Well, we load it in, then we play with it and use it until it makes more sense. You don't have to understand it all today. You just write it down. All right, so, no, I want that A to stay down there. Let's see, will it let me expand that way? Yeah. Okay, so fanboys, for those who haven't heard it before, for is a common, well, Mrs. Lawler, for seems to be a preposition. Again, if it's joining 2 grammatical equals, it'll be acting as a conjunction. If after it is coming one noun or pronoun somewhere after, maybe a modifier and then one, then it's acting as a preposition. So we'll find out the usage. There's where and goes. Most people know that one. Nor is not used as much. Here's but when used as a coordinating conjunction, or you see most of these are listed on your page. It just gives you a few more to realize because it's such a nice and tidy little acronym. Will I be tested on all these, Mrs. Lawler? If you are, it'll be fairly so, and after we've used them for quite a while in class. Okay, I've loaded in for you all the information that I want you to know, and you can grab a screenshot of that and finish those cards later. Let's see. Chella, what can we bring tomorrow? What are we allowed to bring tomorrow to class that we don't normally get to bring?
Our pets.
Yes, and you don't have to, but you may. And when you come into class, use a coordinating conjunction in your name. So tomorrow, if I had Kidder with me, instead of, he is with me, but with is only a preposition and it'll be conjunction day. So tomorrow I would write Mrs. Lawler and Kidder. And I'd name myself like that tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow when you come in, if you bring a pet, you may name yourself, and then we'll know the name of your pet, and we'll take some time to see and introduce as many as we can. Can't spend the whole class period on it, but that'll be a fun way to use some conjunctions. And then there'll be a relationship, or not, no, I don't want to say it that way. It'll be joining 2 grammatical equals. You as a proper noun and your pet, okay? And if you don't have a pet, read the email that I sent out yesterday, because that tells you what to do. Here comes prayer, and look at us sending you out the door on time. Good job. Plenty of time for people to ask questions who have them. Way to go, class. Thank you, Father, for your grace. Thank you for the fun we can have playing with words. Help us to think about things so we can use them effectively to your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. You are free to go a little early for all the many times I've kept you late. No homework, no homework.
Wait,
Just
no.
finish your cards. Just finish your cards, that's all. Nothing to turn in, unless you want to turn in that chapter 1 application challenge, because I moved that due date, so you can do that. Tirza, what's on your mind?
If we don't have a pet, do we bring one of our pet little siblings?
Oh no, that's an idea. Could you bring a sibling instead? You could bring a stuffed animal instead if you have a stuffed animal that you name. That would be fine. That would probably be easier to control than your sibling. And yes, it's okay if you bring a sibling. If they'll stay with you for a little while, that would also be fine. And we won't call them pets. We'll be very respectful that humans have greater value than animals do. But yes, that's a
Yeah.
great plan, Tirza. A great
Or
way.
I could see, since I'm at my grandparents' house, I could see if I could get their dog to come and stay with me.
Absolutely. If the dog will come, it doesn't have to be your pet, it can be grandma's pet. That's equally fine. Just have fun with it. However, whatever you do. And Jacob, go ahead.
So we just have to finish the flashcards?
Yes, just finish up those flashcards. I'll have the recording after my second class. So it'll take me, let's see, I get done about 9, 10. By 10 o'clock Pacific, I should have that recording in there.
So are there 3 new flashcards or 5 new
There were
that we have to make?
3 to go with prepositions and 2 for conjunctions for the total of 5.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Nelia,
Can you send the recordings out as fast as you can?
I can't do it any
Yes.
faster than I do because I have to teach other people.
I
But
mean,
Mom
okay.
knows where they are.
And a second question, can you read my message, please?
I don't know, but I can look. Is it before or after prayer? I don't find it just now. Was it before prayer or after prayer? Before. Okay. I don't see it right now at the moment. Kaim,
So do we have to write our definitions on the flashcards and then write it in the book?
I would do it in both places so
Okay.
that when you are in the book and you're working on exercises, it's just really handy and you don't have to have your cards, but then have it in your cards because then when you're studying, you don't have to have your book open. So both places, yeah, just get your cards and your book kind of coordinating. If I put it in, then you put it in. If you need to rewatch the recording to see, or if you want to ask for a screenshot. And what I can do, Melia, looks like she's frozen at the moment, is I will send you screenshots as soon as I can.
Unfrozen.
Is she unfrozen now?
She is.
So I'll send you screenshots of those pages, and I beg you to have someone teach you how to get your own screenshots on your device so that you don't
What
need
type
your
of device
teachers
does she have?
to do that. We've talked about it quite a few times, but she just needs to have someone help her with her device, so tell her what to do.
Well, I know how to get screenshots. I really need to watch the recordings because I got really confused.
I see. The screenshots will probably help you quite a bit, but if you need the recordings, that's what they're there for. Kayema, did you have another question?
I was just wondering if you want me to erase the annotate stuff.
No, they will go away on their own when I close it. Thanks for checking. Good job, guys. I'll see you in class tomorrow with your pets. Thank you. Well done. Gabriel, did you need anything?
No, I'm good. Sorry, I was just
Okay, that's okay. I just didn't want to leave you.